Are live.
Good evening, everybody. How are you today? Brian Rieger, Scott Small, and Debbie McKinney here for the We Believe Team Thursday Night Hangout. Thank you so much for being here, spending a little time with us this evening. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them there in the chat roll. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about mindset. We're going to talk a little bit about outsourcing and some things you can do to start growing your business on a daily basis. Because as you know, one of the keys to success with our businesses is getting out there and marketing it, getting the people that are looking for you in front of your offers. So we're going to talk a little bit tonight about what you can do to take some action and make that happen. And like I said, if you have some questions, just please throw them in the chat roll, and we'll get to those as quick as we can. But I'm going to pass it over to Scott Small to say hello, and we'll do a little hellos here, and then we'll get rolling with some content.
Well, hello everybody, and thank you for spending time with us, and we appreciate you being here and joining us in our Hangout. And the real focus of what we're always looking to do here is to do whatever we can to help you grow your business, because the bottom line is that your success is our success, and we're really truly in this together. And we do work as a team, and we feel that that's something that's really important, because too many times you get involved with some type of opportunity, or you get into an organization and you feel like the Lone Ranger out there. And it's real easy, especially when you're working in a home business, to really feel by yourself. You're sitting in front of your computer, you're on webinars, you're on phone calls, you're on things of that nature, but you're not generally, because of the way we do our business, having personal contact. And we really feel that it's important to connect. We really feel that reaching out and having those connections are what there's motives to that, and it also creates results. And that's one of the big reasons that we do these hangouts, is really to share, to connect, and to help to build your belief, because ultimately your results come from your connection and your belief in what you're doing. And the more real it can become to you, the more you will be able to take that belief and transfer it to somebody else, and that really will come across in everything you do. So we talked last week about what we have here and what we call our 8 core commitments, and how they work and what they can do to help you grow your business. And there's methods to the madness here. Everything is done for a reason. And the bottom line is that we want you to have success. I mean, you certainly, when you signed up, you got yourself started in this business, there's a reason that you did that. And as long as you can focus on that and stay, having that being your ultimate goal, then all of the other things will come to you. And we actually have a good example we're going to talk about a little bit later, about someone who joined here, and they came in with the right attitude, they took action very quickly, and they got great results. So that's another of the things that we're going to be talking about. And the real bottom line here is that this is a business that works. As with everything, there's been some challenges, and there's been some things that have happened along the way. And you know what? That's a good thing, because we've learned from them. We're learning from them. We'll continue to make mistakes, and we'll continue to learn from the mistakes. And those are the things that you really don't focus on. What you focus on is where you're going, what the system is, what support you have in putting you in a place to be able to get your results. And as long as you're putting your efforts and energies into the right things, the results will come to you. So, I want to welcome you all, and thank you for coming and joining us, and let you know that we truly are here to help you and support you in any way that we can with your business. And I actually I wanted to welcome Debbie to the call tonight as well, or the webinar tonight as well. And Debbie, any opening thoughts?
Yeah, just we all come to this business. We're all here at a different point, and it really doesn't matter where we are. If we just don't quit, we'll win. And just like I know the person that you were talking about that came in and within 36 hours already has, a new person on the team and whatnot. And that person had marketing experience, had direct sales experience, and knew what to do. And the key was took action and did it. But not everybody comes in at that level, and some have bits and pieces of it, and some people have very little of it. And so you just start wherever you are and begin to build on that and have little successes. And so that's what I've got this evening, is just, and sometimes it's just step by step, and you don't even realize, and that was one of the things I was thinking about today. I had a conversation with somebody, and they said, well, what are you doing now? And I was kind of going through it and then thinking about, a year ago where I was and how much I've learned and how much I've grown being part of this. So that's what I've got.
Cool. Thank you, Debbie, and thank you, Scott. Guys, the key to this, is really, it requires taking action. It's the real key to having success at anything. Matter of fact, I've kind of been absent for the last month or so because my son's in Little League Baseball, and I see these little kids, and it's like, we're talking about life and what I do, how's school going for them, and a lot of them are like, oh yeah, I want to play baseball, for a living, and I'm like, well, go out and do it, and they're like, well, I don't know if I could, I don't know if I can, and I was like, well, how many hours a day do you practice? And they're like, well, no, I practice here, when we have team practice or, before the game or whatever. I'm like, well, you look at a Derek Jeter or Dustin Pedroia or, Manny Ramirez, and you say, hey, how many hours a day do you think that those guys practiced when they were a kid or when they were your age? And I said, I bet they were probably playing baseball every day of the week, 4 hours, 5 hours a day after school. They were either playing with their friends. If they didn't have friends to play with, they were hitting the ball against a wall. And they lived and breathed baseball. And, here they are, adults getting to do what they love for a living. And we are really not much different than that. Nobody is born knowing how to be a network marketer. Nobody is born knowing how to be a professional or know how to be a business person. It's all stuff that's learned through time, through perseverance, and putting in the hours necessary to become proficient at whatever it is you're trying to do. So, our business is no different than that. You have to put in the hours necessary to be successful. Granted, our model is, I believe it pays better than most models out there. I think it still requires a lot less work than a lot of the models out there. We don't have to do the three-way calling. We don't have to do the, cold calling, cold prospects. We don't do any of that stuff, so it frees us up to do, I don't want to say nothing, but it frees us up to do two things: learn how to be a better marketer and get better quality leads, and self-development. In Power Network, I know a lot of the leaders love to say this, and I couldn't agree more. We're not really a business. We're a leadership factory disguised as a business opportunity. And if you're not out there every day growing yourself, growing the amount of leads you have in your system, and getting better at your trade, you're never going to get to where you want to get. Do you think Donald Trump was born knowing how to be a real estate mogul? Do you think Gordon Ramsay was born knowing how to be a world-renowned chef? These guys worked and worked and worked and worked to get to where they're at. Kathy Lee Gifford was not born a great journalist. She worked at it, and she put in the time necessary to do that. What they were talking about is I actually had a brand new member, started 36 hours ago. Within 36 hours, has been plugged through the training, has his marketing system set up, ran an ad, had, I think at the last I saw, had like 30 or 40 leads today, and his first paid sign-up. So, I mean, how do there's no excuse out there on why you can't be successful here as long as you're willing to put in the effort. Your results are an exact duplication of your effort. If you put in zero effort, we've always said it, you're going to make $0. If you put in if you do what we're teaching you, you put the time into yourself and into your business that is necessary to grow it, you will get to where you want to get, I assure you. It's pretty funny. I see these people on Facebook every day, talking to me, and they'll send me a message about how, oh, you got to come join my deal. You know, my deal is the greatest deal on the planet. And then guess what happens? A month later, hey, Brian, man, I'm in this other new deal. You got to come check out this new deal. This is the greatest new deal on the planet. And then a month later, boom, here comes their third great new deal in 3 months. Oh, Brian, you got to join this one now. And then they put a post up on Facebook about how, oh, well, I'm leaving this deal because it didn't work out for me. You know, and it's no surprise because they didn't put in the time necessary to be successful. You know, a lot of people, and I'm going to kind of wrap up my end of it and pass it on to Scott here in a second. You know, a lot of people sit there and say, oh, well, I want to eat organic, and I want to eat organic, and I want to, you know, I want my vegetables to be nice and fresh and everything else. You know, you can't go out today. I can't go right now, throw a tomato plant in my backyard and walk out tomorrow and have these big, plump, ripe tomatoes. You got to let it grow. I got to go out there. I got to feed it. I got to make sure there's no weeds blocking it out. I got to go out there and take care of these tomato plants so 3-4 months from now I can have these big, ripe, juicy, organic tomatoes that I grew myself. You know, if you want super fast, then you go to the supermarket, you buy a tomato, and you're done with it. Where it came
Go
from,
to Whole Foods.
who knows? You know what I mean? But if you want to grow your own tomatoes, you're not going to buy a plant today and wake up tomorrow and have these big, huge, lush tomatoes. You got to let the plant grow. You got to feed it. You got to water it. You got to do what's necessary to give it the best chance to give you the big, juiciest tomatoes you ever had. So that's my little rant for right now. So I'm going to go ahead and who wants the ball next? I think Debbie with a Y. She's ready. So let's pass it over to Debbie with a Y.
Oh, you are, huh? When you were talking about those tomatoes, I'm thinking I'm never going to be growing them. I don't have a green thumb, but I would run to Whole Foods and grab them any day. And, you know, it's funny, Scott talked about, or actually, you know, you were talking about running an ad. And, you know, in Empower Network, or really any business that you're in marketing, we've got to work on 3 things each day: mindset, generating leads, and converting those leads. And you know, there's free methods and there's paid methods. But when you think about it, you know, everybody, you know, a lot of people come in this and they're working a job, and or you know, have other things going on. And so, how do you leverage yourself? And I listened to an Inner Circle audio this week that Lawrence Tam did on outsourcing. And what a great video. And actually with the Inner Circle, they are in the process of redoing them, and a lot of the leaders are recording things right now for the Inner Circle. And Lawrence Tams is the first one. There's going to be at least 2 there every month, and they're going to be geared towards everybody, not just Empower. So whether it's a realtor, you know, home business, MLM, direct sales, brick and mortar business, everybody can benefit from that. And you know, one of the things that Scott mentioned earlier too was that, you know, being a lone ranger. And so many times, if you're a real entrepreneur, and you've got that drive and you're going to get it done, so many times you just, you know, rather than taking a look and saying, okay, who else or what else could I have somebody else do to free me up, you know, you just kind of push through it like, I can do it. And so that was one of the things that they talked about on outsourcing, is that it'll leverage your time, and if you're working a job, you can market and set things up and outsource so that your business is working even if you're working at a job. And so it's a way of growing your business faster and gives you more time for, you know, your family, for travel, and actually to put back in your business. And so, you know, and marketing is outsourcing, it's leveraging, and you really think about what is it that you do best. And I'm a baby boomer. I didn't necessarily grow up with technology, and I'm really advanced for most people that I know, but it drives me crazy. And I just recently hired an assistant, and I was telling Brian earlier, and that I had put out an ad in the paper because I was really looking for somebody to do some of the things that I don't like to do. And I love the marketing and creating and putting myself out there, but I don't want to have to like figure out all the stuff behind it, even though I have a good understanding of it. And so I put out an ad and I really didn't like what I saw. So I said, okay, what we're learning here in Empower is marketing. And so how can I use that to hire the right assistant? And now I wanted somebody to come to my house and do it here, at least for now, because I'm still, I felt like it was easier to be able to teach somebody to do that, what I needed them to do. So I put out a different kind of ad, and the first response I got, I could tell, was a really different response. And I knew, it's funny, I knew from that very first ad that that's who I was going to hire, although I did look at other people and talk to other people. And, excuse me, and so as an entrepreneur, I could say, you know what, I'm going to do it all. I've got to figure this out. I'm learning, Facebook ads, and I'm going through internet traffic formula and learning traffic sources and this and that to really, and I'm doing it to grow my business, but I want to grow faster, and so that's why I'm outsourcing. And, people don't even realize how valuable it can be. And, I think some of the things, and they talked about this in the inner circle, what keeps you back from outsourcing? And sometimes people just don't realize that that's what they can do and how valuable it can be. And maybe they're thinking, I don't even really know this stuff, which is kind of how I felt for a while. And if I don't know it, how am I going to be able to ask for help and be able to monitor it? And so one of the ways of outsourcing is not just for business, but personally. Someone to clean your house, somebody to cut the grass, somebody to maybe babysit or dog walk, things like that, so that you're able to concentrate on your business because your business is important to you and you want to do what it takes. And so there's different ways of outsourcing. And and one of the things too is that, it's funny because Lawrence Tam talked about this too, is I didn't really care about a resume. I just wanted to know what a person would do. So one of the things that I did on my ad was not just ask for a resume, but I said, okay, I want somebody who will, reach the goal, is to really work with me and accomplish some things as opposed to just, setting, like putting in the time. And that's exactly what I got. And, somebody to really help me to achieve my goals. And so, so I had the outsourcers. Not only I did ask for a resume just so I could kind of see, but I asked them, I said, okay, here's the things that I'm working on, more or less, and tell me how you would accomplish these, or tell me about this. So so they had to really think about it, and that really reduced, I got a certain number of responses back. Then I asked that as a second step before I even talked to them, and that weeded out a lot of people. They just didn't even follow the directions. And so in the Inner Circle audio, Lawrence Tam talks about this too, is being clear on what you want. And if you're really not sure, you can always outsource personally. But Brian mentioned ads. Ads are outsourcing. It's and we have such great training here. That and within this team, I mean, Brian taught me how to do some ads that, I had wanted to do for years and never really knew how. And, that's what we've got here, is just learning those kind of things, because when we market, when we put ads out there, that ad is out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or however long we have it. And it's out there like, kind of saying, hey, look at me, this is what I've got. And you don't have to be doing it. And it's great for shy people too, because not everybody's a salesperson. Not everybody wants to put themselves out there. So if you don't have the Inner Circle, highly recommend you get it. And if you have it, take a look at that. Listen to Lawrence Tam's. It was just posted this week, so listen to it on outsourcing. I think you'll find it very valuable and kind of eye-opening. And I think it'll give you some ideas of maybe how you can kind of tweak some things to leverage and get more results. So thanks a lot. That's what I've got.
Oh, that's awesome, Debbie. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. To expand on that a little bit, it's not just your business. For me, to cut my lawn in the summertime takes about 2 to 3 hours. By the time I cut my lawn, go out there with a weed whacker, weed whack, and everything else, it's about a 2.5, 3 hour job. My philosophy on that is, I can get a neighborhood kid for 20 bucks a week to come over to my house and cut my lawn and weed whack for me. So, where does that allow me by spending the $20? It allows me to put that 3 hours into something that's going to make me a lot more than $20. So you got to have the mindset of what is your time worth, and really kind of equate what, mowing the lawn is an $8 an hour job. I'm worth more than an $8 an hour job, so I will pay somebody the $8 an hour to do that for me, and I will spend my 3 hours doing something that will make me a heck of a lot more than the $20 I spent to free up that time. So, don't be afraid to outsource the things that, are below your pay grade. And you got to have the mindset that you're $1 million person and you're $1 million earner, and there's certain things that are below your pay grade. And that's the stuff you can outsource to free yourself up to do things that the income producing activities that'll make you a lot more money than what you just spent. So, Scott, let's pass it over to you. I know you got some exciting stuff to share with us and some good stuff. So go ahead and we'll pass it over to you.
Well, actually, you brought up a point that is something that I had been in a conference actually the very first company that I was with. And, you talked about the kids and the baseball and, how the ones that really focus and believe that they can, become successful at it are the ones who ultimately go on and have the success. But there was an author, actually he was a professor, he taught the most popular course at Harvard, and it was, based on happiness and, how people can do things in their lives to be happy. But one of the stories that he told was when they took a group of kids and, you walk into a kindergarten and you ask all the kids there, who's a good artist? And, you've got, every kid is jumping out of their seats and they've got both hands up and they're, me, and I can draw great pictures. And, they really, truly, they're innocent and they haven't been jaded to the point where they don't believe. And then, let's say you go into a third grade or a fourth grade class and, you don't get quite as enthusiastic a response and, fewer kids raise their hands. And then, let's say you take it into middle school and, you ask and, a few kids will raise their hands, but, for the most part, they're not raising their hands. And then, take it all the way up till, college or adult, and you have very few people who even, believe that they're capable of having any kind of artistic, talent. And, it's kind of interesting. The point that he was making is, society takes that innocence and that belief and that, core ability to, not be afraid of rejection and failure, and it ingrains it into us in a way that, we put ourselves in all of these positions in life where we're just losing the enthusiasm and we're just trudging through and really not, living the life that we want. And there's so many compromises and so many things that people give up. And, what we're doing here, what this whole, movement, if you will, is all about is really giving back, people's joy and belief that they can really have what it is that they want, or have that innocence and that inner belief of doing something to actually enjoy what they're doing. And too many people really lose that, and it's based in fear, it's based out of bad circumstances, it's life happens, and certainly I'm not saying that we all need to be kindergartners, but there's a certain inner belief that we lose over time, and to go back to being able to tap into that and then share that with other people is really what we all deserve. And it's unfortunate that we go through this process of losing that. And what we really are doing here, and that's where a lot of this mindset comes from, is getting you past those things that have happened to you, and getting you past those things that have kept you from getting to the goals that you truly deserve, and really being able to focus on what it is that you really want, what it is that you're really entitled to, what it is that you can not only create for yourself but actually help other people to get. And first it starts, of course, with getting your own house in order, starting to get results, doing the things that will create change, doing the things that will start to give you that belief. And there's a whole system here that's in place. And I talked earlier about the team and what the team brings to it. And it's actually much bigger than the team. It's actually the culture. And Brian touched on this earlier about what we're doing here is it's a leadership factory disguised as a business. And so many times, we just really aren't out there doing things with the conviction that we know that the result is going to happen. And when we talk about the person that Brian signed up, Doug, we'll throw a name out there. He got started in one day, and he put his ad out there with belief that it was going to get a result. Amazingly enough, it did. Well, so many times we're just going through the motions. And, he was surprised because this was the first time that he's ever been in a business where he didn't have to pick up a phone. He didn't have to make the phone calls. He didn't have to do the three-ways. He actually saw the system work. But what happens is he's notched up his belief now. I mean, he went out with confidence, knowing that he knew how to market and he knew how to do, maybe a little bit of the things, he knew how to place an ad. I mean, I'm not going to say he was an expert at marketing. But he just merely went out there with intention, set an intention, and created a result. And, he wasn't jaded. He wasn't, in a place where he put the ad out and says, well, it's probably not going to work, and I don't know what I'm doing, and all. I mean, he just did it. He took action. And I think that, if we can let go of all these things that will hold us back from results and really focus on what it is that we want, and, let go of those little voices that are in our head that are always holding us back, well, that's really where I think our results can come from. And, it was interesting the way it tied into, a couple of things that we had here. So, that story that he told about the kindergartners and the art and their ability to do art, really is kind of a microcosm of how our society really, takes people and, and takes away that enthusiasm and that belief and that innocence. And I'm not saying that we should all be innocent, but we shouldn't give up on our goals. And that's really what I have, and that was something that just came up for me. So, anybody want to?
Awesome. No, thank you, Scott, for sharing that. And Scott's right. I mean, we get to a point in our lives where we start telling ourselves we can't do this and we can't do that, and we can't. And they always say whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, odds are you're right. Because no matter what you tell yourself, if you tell yourself something long enough, you're gonna believe it. And once you start believing the fact that you're not destined for something bigger, that you're not destined to be more successful than you are, and you're not destined for great things, and that you're not really deserving of being wealthy, or you're not deserving of being able to do what you want when you want, you really start to believe that. And once you start to believe that, it's a slippery slope that just keeps dragging you down further and further and further. And it's, really, again, it's just about going out there and taking that first step. Every journey, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with that single step. You can't get anywhere if you're so frozen with fear and you're so frozen that you can't move yourself forward. If you get stuck in the quicksand or stuck in the mud, you got to get yourself back out of there, and you got to get yourself going. Tony Rush, God love him. I mean, when he tells the story about kids learning to walk, when you're a baby, you start learning to walk. You get up, you take a step, you fall back down. You know, is there any kid out there that hadn't finally persevered enough where they can get up and start walking? You know, very, very few. I mean, you know, you get up, you take a step, you fall down, and you get back up. Now you can take 2 steps. Then you fall back down, and you get back up, and you brush yourself off. Sometimes you hit your noggin. God knows I had it plenty of times, and which would explain a lot. But, you know, you hit your noggin, you cry a little bit, you get back up, and you take another step. And that's really what is required. And that's not just business, that's life. You know, if you don't keep pushing yourself forward and keep driving yourself forward, nobody's going to do it for you. I mean, you know, we live in a society that, you know, you're either, you know, a lot of people think that they're, you know, that they're deserving of, you know, either something free or, you know, somebody should be doing it for them. And, you know, I tell this to my kids all the time. You know, if you want something in life, you got to go out and earn it, because nobody's going to give you nothing for free. There is no such thing as a free lunch. And, you know, people with the mentality of, hey, I deserve a free lunch, or I should get free money and not have to put in any effort, you know, those are the people that are just asking to have, you know, those are the people that get caught up in the scams. Those are the people that have a hard time, you know, growing anything, because what ends up happening is as soon as you become that person, who are you going to attract? You know, if you're not doing the things that you need to do to grow your business, and you happen to sign somebody up just out of a fluke or whatever, what are they going to do? They're going to look at you and sit there and say, well, hey, I deserve a free lunch, or if my sponsor's doing this, then I should be doing what they're doing. You know, so you got to go out there and lead by example. You got to lead not only yourself, you got to lead your team, you got to lead everybody around you, because, you know, a lot of y'all have known me for a long time. I was never, you know, I was always a good speaker, but I wasn't as confident as I am today. I'm a better speaker, I'm a better husband, I'm a better father, I'm a better person because of what Empower Network I've learned. And again, I wasn't born to knowing this stuff. I went out there and I tried stuff and I learned stuff, and I kept going and I keep going and I keep learning and I keep doing new things. Some of it works, some of it don't. When it don't work, I don't cry. I brush myself off, I get back up, and I take another step forward. And if you don't start doing that with your business, you are not going to get yourself to where you want to get. I don't care if you're trying to get 5 feet or 5 miles. You've got to take a step forward. And don't get paralyzed by the fear of, oh my gosh, just what if it doesn't work, or what if this happens, or what if that happens? Because as soon as you start thinking that way, it's gonna, whatever the bad stuff you're thinking, your stinking thinking is gonna make it happen. I promise you. So just sometimes you just gotta let go of all the crap. Say, I believe I deserve this. I believe I'm gonna make it happen. And come hell or high water, I'm not going to stop, and I'm going to take every step forward until I make my 5 feet, and then my 5 miles, and then my 1,000 yards, or whatever it is you're shooting for, and just keep pushing yourself to get it. Because if you can push yourself just an inch, momentum will start to take over. And an inch will lead to another inch, to another inch, to another inch. And every time you move that little inch, it becomes a little easier and a little easier. You know, you look at a bodybuilder. A bodybuilder can take 250 pounds on a dumbbell or a barbell and just start bench pressing it. Boom, 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 and just bench pressing that. Do you think that when they first started and first picked up a dumbbell, they could do that? Of course not. You know, they started off with 100 pounds. Then they started off with 110, 115, and now here they are. They're all ripped, and they got that 250-pound barbell, and they're just throwing it around like it's nothing. You know, so you've got to, at some point, start exercising your muscles if you want to get stronger. If you want to get more, you know, if you want to run a marathon, I assure you, none of us is going to go hop outside right now, throw on our running shoes, and go run a marathon. You have to first go around the block. Then you go around the block twice. Then you do it 3 times. Then you do it 4 times, and you work yourself up to a half marathon. Then you can run the full marathon. And then it's just about beating your own personal time. None of us is Usain Bolt. None of us is going to go out there and break world records in a 100-yard dash. The idea is if you can get a little faster every time you go out there and run it and beat your personal best every time, I assure you at the end of the day, you will be as fast as you want to be. So that's all I got. Who is next? I guess I'll throw it back over to, I believe Debbie was next, so we'll throw it back over to Debbie.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. And you know what? In here in Empower, there's large numbers of people that have never had success anywhere else that are having success here. And that really says something for the culture, for the system, the processes, the pay plan, everything. And one of the things that's really kind of interesting is if you've ever met David Wood at an event, and like there's all kinds of people that are just crowd around him, and if you have to, I mean, the times when I've seen him, I've never caught him like off by himself. He's always like surrounded people, and you kind of just have to wait your turn and kind of just keep pushing in and get close to him. But when you talk to him, it's like you're one-on-one, that there's nobody else in the room, that it's only you and Dave Wood. And the people that and you can hear and see conversations going around you, or when you're waiting to see him. And Dave Wood always says, I believe in you. I believe you'll do that. And, just having just one person believe in you can really make a big difference. And what happens too is that, we come in here and we see success. There's tools, there's systems, there's all these things, and we take a step out, and maybe everybody else in our lives, or our friends or family, are just like, what are you doing? Maybe it's yourself, and what happens is that you've still got that old thinking in your head, and yet you step out and do something new, and all of a sudden, it's like, been talking about, it's the monkeys in your head, it's the stinking thinking, and come up against this wall, like this barrier, and it's kind of scary, and so you either freeze or you step back into safety. But when you know that that's there, that when it doesn't matter whether it's this business or something in a relationship or school job, when you know that, when your head is just going crazy saying, no, you can't do it, blah, 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 oh yeah, well, maybe I've got some people who believe me, and you just step through that, your mind will change, and you're getting a new result, and now you're kind of a new person. So you've added to that belief every time you step out, and even if it's doing just one little thing. And it's kind of interesting, and I think it was Scott that you had something on your wall today on Facebook, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's like something about, like, if you're hurting enough, or or things are bad enough, or or just all this stuff's going on, um, and you can change. And there's so many things that you'll hear, oh my gosh, it's just not bad enough, or they haven't hit a bottom, or or just it's like when you're in pain, or maybe you're not in enough pain, and it's like we have to be in pain to be able to change, and yet we don't. And that's part of what we learn here in Empower Network, that we can choose to change. And when you listen to the inner circles, and you listen to the Costa Ricas, and the and the different programs, you'll hear how people consciously said, okay, I see this thing here, whatever it is you want, it's out in front of you, and it's there for the taking. And Empower Network is full of great examples, and you can follow this too, that just said, you know what, I may have been in pain, or maybe I'm not even in that pain, I just want something more, I want something different. And you can choose to do that today by stepping through that, we've called it the terror barrier. Like when you step out and you get the fear, you just step through that terror barrier. So you can choose at any in your life. And once you do that, that's why the daily, they talk about a daily reading or audio, whatever it is, however it is that best goes into your mind. And yes, it is brainwashing, but we're being brainwashed anyway, so we might as well be brainwashed by something good. And so by constantly feeding your mind with people who are positive, uplifting, growing, going where you want to go, and reading material, hearing it, taking a look at programs like we've got, and all of a sudden you'll realize that it's like climbing a steep mountain. For a period of time, you're climbing and you're climbing and you're climbing, and all of a sudden you look back You go, oh my gosh, that valley's way down there. I've come a long way. But when you're really striving, you don't see it. And so just we believe in you. And and that's it's just we believe, the we believe team. We believe that you can do it. I believe I can do it. We believe we can do it as a team. And so just know, and I just get this feeling that and I was speaking to somebody earlier today, and she's actually in Empower, but she had been abused as a child, and she reached out to me because she wants to read a book, and she just wanted to kind of get my feedback and how to do it. She knew I had published a book, and she just wanted to get some information like that. And here she, like she trusted me with that information, and that just felt so good to me. And I was able to say to her that, she's like, well, how do I know if my book is good enough? And I'm like, are you kidding? There's tons of people that have been in a situation, and she's come a long way. It's amazing what she's done with her life. I said, people need to hear those stories, because there's people that go through that get stuck, that just never get through it, or they haven't so far. And so wherever you are, just say, you know what? It's just, if you begin to think about something negative, or I can't do it, or just say, I haven't done it yet. Just don't ever count yourself out. We believe in you. So, Scott, what have you got?
Well, hang on 1 minute. I'm multitasking once again. This is one
Oh,
of the
okay.
things I don't do.
There you go.
Good. I'm good. Well, first off, you know what? I do want to do a couple little shout outs here. First off, I want to congratulate Jackie for doing her video and putting it out there, and she just did it. I mean, I know that it wasn't something that was necessarily inside her comfort zone, but she went out and did it anyways, and I think that that's great. Because the second one's going to be easier, and the third one will be easier than that, and then 50 videos later, now all of a sudden, you're going to just be able to turn on that camera, look at it like it's your friend, and like you're just talking to someone, and be very natural. And that's really something that the imperfections are fine, because what happens is that makes you human, that makes you approachable, that makes you someone that other people can relate to, because what you're doing is just showing people that you believe that you're going to create something and some type of result, and you're just going to do whatever it takes to get there, and you're just really demonstrating to other people that you don't have to be this polished, perfect person to be able to go out and create results. And it's baby steps. It's exactly what Brian said. What you do is you build on the things that you learn. Actually, one thing that Tony Rush told us, which really, it's kind of humorous, but if you think about it, it's really pretty profound. And that is, one of the most difficult things, if you really look at it, is how a baby learns how to eat a Cheerio. I don't know if you guys remember that, but he used that as an example. And if you think about it, it really is kind of profound, because I mean, what is picking up a Cheerio and eating it? It's nothing. But you know what? Think about all of the different skill sets that go into that. Being able to look down and focus on it, and then being able to reach out and actually get your hand on it, and get it to the point where you can clamp down on it and move your fingers together and pick it up. And then you pick it up, and then you find your mouth. Well, all of those things, I mean, we look at it and we go, well, all right, really that's not that big of a deal. But you know what? Think about it. If you never had done any of those things before, and to take and coordinate all of those different movements and all of the different things, of course, it shows how fascinating our brain is, and how, really, powerful it is. But, we don't even think twice about it. But yet, in the bigger scheme of things, I mean, if you were to design a machine that could do all of those things, I mean, it would take, geniuses to be able to do that. And, here we just take it for granted. And that's, the same thing with learning how to walk. And you get up and you fall down. And, so many times, people in business, especially in this kind of business, they fall down and they stay down. They don't get back up, and you know what? They never learn how to walk. They never learn how to run. They never learn how to, go out and have, what it is that they really deserve. So, so many times, if we really keep in perspective what you're accomplishing, how you're learning. Like Debbie had said, a year ago what she knew. Brian said, a year ago how he wasn't as comfortable speaking, and certainly for myself as well. What I'm learning is that the more I take action, the more I do things to learn and expand, the easier and better it is to do this business. And so much of what we talk about is, give us the nuts and bolts. Well, you know what? I do have some nuts and bolts for you, so I do want to digress because I know I'm a little bit all over the place right now. But the one point that I wanted to bring out is, I don't know if you guys caught last night the training that Kevin Souza did on the Facebook training. And it really was something that's a very simple process. He actually invited everyone to steal his videos. He told you how to download them. And if you didn't catch the training, I would definitely recommend it. But you know what? For those of you who are struggling to come up with some leads, he showed you what he's doing. And all he did was, just merely go out and steal a few videos, download them to his computer, re-upload them back to his Facebook page because you need to do that. And he does explain all this. So, I don't want to go into all of the training. But I really recommend it. I think that this is something that if you feel that this is something you want to do, could be a very simple way of growing your business. And he just basically walks you through step by step. And one of the things that he recommends is putting together well, go see the training. It's definitely worth it. And then there's a more advanced version of it that we all have in our Prosperity Team back office. So many times, and I'm totally guilty of this myself, we make it much more complicated, and we don't need to. That's something that, just trying something. Jeanette put a very interesting quote up there. What was it? A determined soul will do more with a rusty monkey wrench than a loafer will accomplish with all the tools in a machine shop. Well, there's a lot of truth in that. All you have to do is do something. And, the business itself has all the resources and all the tools. All you need to do is plug people into our system. Another person I'd like to call out here is Bill. He's been doing a tremendous job of taking action and learning and going through the process. And, it's just now a matter of time. He's going to get that one little click, and then he'll have another win and another win and another win. And, the business will take off and it will grow. And, certainly that's what I've experienced is, when things start, you wonder why they took, so long to happen. And once they do start happening, they can certainly build momentum as long as you keep focused on your goals and what it is that you're here for. So, we talk about nuts and bolts, we talk about mindset, and they're so intertwined. It's taking action with the belief, setting the expectation that it's going to get a result, and that's really when things start coming together for you. So, that's what I've got, and, I wanted to share that with you because, so much of what happens in this business is it's in our heads, and it's, things that we've learned to keep ourselves from getting results. And, the more we can grow as a person, the more we can let go of those things that are holding us back, and the more we take action, that really setting an expectation of getting a result, that's really how this business goes. And, you don't have to do all the heavy lifting because, we truly are here to support you and do whatever we can to help you get those results. So, I just wanted to share that. So, thank you for that.
Yep. No, thank you for that, Scott. And, that's just it's all great stuff, folks. And, it is just about going out there and taking just a little bit of action and just doing a little bit of this or a little bit of that, and then putting it all together. For those of you that are guests here, first of all, I want to thank you for being here. Feel free to get back with the person that invited you and thank them for inviting you, and get started with them today. If there was a link in the email, then go ahead and click on the link in the email. Also, for legal purposes, got to put the income disclaimer out there. We do talk about results, so all results are not normal. My results, Scott's results, Debbie's results are not typical. You can see the full income disclaimer at empowernetwork.com /PowerNetwork.com//
Income.php.
Income.php. Thank you very much, Scott. To see the full income disclaimer, or click the link at the bottom of the page. So there we had our legal junk out of the way. Folks, it's just getting out there and just doing some of the things that you're taught. I mean, we have one thing we do not lack is training here. We have training in the in Power Network. We have training in Prosperity Team. We got the iPass 2 system coming out where they got training going on. We got the We Believe team that, you know, Scott, me, Debbie, Mark Hertzfeld have all done training on. So, you know, you got to take the tools that you're given. And I'm not saying go out there and become a master of everything, because it's never going to happen. If you can just pick one or two types of marketing and go out there and learn it. You know, if you want to learn how to do, let's say that you want to do videos, and oh, I always wanted to learn how to do video marketing. I mean, we got video marketing in the 15K. We got video marketing training in the Costa Rica. There's video marketing on the We Believe team. There's video marketing training on the Prosperity team. You can go to Google and put in how to be a video marketer, best ways to video market, and go use Google and find another couple 100,000 sites with training in it. And if you could just put in, let's say you want to be the best video marketer on the planet, I guarantee if you could dedicate an hour or two a day, 7 or 6 or 5 or whatever days a week you can do it, and you just start putting in the time necessary to learn and learn and learn. How do, you know, what's the best equipment I can use? How do I SEO it? What's the best hosting sites I can use? How do I get that message of my video in front of people that are actually going to see it? You know, there's so much to learn in it that, you know, you look at it, if you look at it from where you're at now and what you know now to what an expert knows, it seems like it's such a huge distance between what you know and what an expert knows. So what ends up happening is you say, wow, this is just too far. I can't make the stretch from here to here. What am I going to do? And really, it's just about you just keep moving the bar. You keep moving the bar little by little, and what ends up happening is then you end up there. Again, it's the tomatoes. You can't plant a tomato plant tomorrow, wake up tomorrow and with these big luscious tomatoes. You know, it's, for me, I'm excited this year because I actually planted a grapevine 8 years ago. 8 years ago I planted my grapevines, and this is the first year they're going to bear fruit. So I'm so excited, but you know what I mean? For 8 years I had to go out there and prune these vines and get them growing just in the right way on my fence so they didn't take all over the place. I had to get other vines and stuff that were trying to grow there out of the way so they had ample sunlight. And I've been cultivating these vines now for 8 years. So, you know, I put in the work for the last 8 years, so on year 9 I can reap the rewards of having as many grapes as I want to eat. So, you know, go out there and tend your vines and water your garden. And, you know, they say the best way, you know, to, you know, if you got a bunch of weeds in your lawn, you have 2 options. Are you going to go out and buy a bunch of weed killer? No, the best way is just feed the lawn. If you feed the lawn will kill all the weeds, I assure you. Grass is one of the strongest plants on the planet. If you feed the grass will kill the weeds. People with, you know, that their front lawn looks like the 9th green at Augusta Golf Club, they don't throw weed killer on their lawn, I assure you. They just feed their grass, and they mow their grass, and they keep they take care of their grass, and weeds won't even get near it because they can't. The grass will kill any weed that tries to get in there. So feed the grass to kill the weeds, and just move forward. That's my best recommendation. So that's what I got for tonight. Let's pass it over to Debbie, get some final thoughts from her and Scott, and then because we are mindful of your time tonight, folks, and I think Vic actually has a training going on tonight too at 9 o'clock. So we'll pass it over to you, Miss.
So I'll just wrap it up. Okay. And just, you know, the last thought is that, you know, we've talked about mindset and we've talked about tools and processes and action, and really what we see is like the tip of the iceberg, and that's what we think that we want is, you know, we want the strategies, the tools, the this and that, but if you don't have your foundation, what's below the iceberg, then your iceberg's going to sink basically. So you've got to have a good foundation, and that's what we do here in Empower, and working on our mindset, working on our leads, our business. And so just be real, be authentic, be you, and have a great night.
Well, thank you for that, Debbie. And you know what? One other person I did want to recognize is Jeanette and Bill, and I give them credit because they have not missed an event. They are here, they are connected and focused, and I just did want to have a quick shout out. And you know what, I know that the theme here is really to allow yourself to become successful. Get out of your own way. And certainly I can tell you that in my case, I was one of these people that held myself back because I spent too much time learning. And really develop yourself. And it really is something that we have tons of resources. I know that I've referred to the Think and Grow Rich call that they're doing every morning at let me convert my times. It's 9 o'clock Eastern, and it's a great call. I mean, they're going through the I'm going to go blank on it. It's Napoleon Hill's book. It's 12
Laws of Success.
Thank you. Laws
of Success.
They just we've been working on it for 2 weeks now, and they're just finally through the introduction. It's an 1,100-page book, but you know what? There's so much value there. There's so much material, and we're literally doing it as a mastermind, and it's really fascinating to feel the energy that comes off of the call from so many people focusing on one training, but also taking away from that having the ability to internalize the energy that's on the call. It's a great way to start the day. And I've kind of as I told you guys before, I started listening to the call, and now I was kind of I would be on the computer, I'd be on Facebook, I'd be doing now I've actually got the words in front of me, I'm following along, I'm getting connected with it, and I'm really excited to feel the energy that I get from that call. So it's a great way to start your day. If you haven't plugged into it, I definitely recommend it. But with that said, I want to thank you all for coming out and spending time with us. We truly do want to see and help you in any way that we can. Now, I know Debbie and I are going to be in New Orleans next week. I know that we definitely won't be on this call, but just because that's the start and the kickoff of the event. But I'm excited for really all of us, and what it is that we can all get from this. So I want to thank you for spending your time with us. Debbie and I will definitely come back with a full report of what we learned in New Orleans, and we look forward to hearing from all of you and sharing in your successes as they come to you. So good night, everybody, and go out and make it a great week and a great weekend. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.